Greetings all, this is Zaptrocity and welcome back to some more of the Minecraft Redstone guide. So, today we have a pretty special episode. We're starting to get more and more advanced. Today we're going to look at the comparator. Came in the 1.5 release. Pretty cool, pretty complicated, I'd say. Well, for most new Redstoners. This little contraption is quite difficult to understand. You can right click it and it turns this torch on and off, but there are some pretty cool uses for it. So let's start getting into how this thing works. First off, the most common use I've seen for comparators so far, well, one of the most important, or I don't know, it's a pretty cool use of a comparator, is it can detect how many items or things are inside a container block, such as these things. So, for example, a chest, you can store items in it. So if we have nothing on, this is completely dead, nothing. We put one in, and this turns on, and there is one redstone dust piece that is activated. Now, the more we throw in, for example, if we throw in a couple of stacks of redstone like so inside, you can see that redstone signal has extended all the way over here. And this, if we just fill up the whole entire chest filled with redstone, let's quickly do that. Okay, so that's completely full, and look at that. The signal strength there is pretty bright, and it goes all the way over here. And that should be about 15 blocks, yes, because this is 16. We can even count that out if you want, but I'm not going to be bothered to. So we also have dispensers. This also works with droppers too. We can just grab one really quickly and chuck one down. Works the same. We just need to throw in our redstone dust. See, works exactly the same. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And we can fill them up. Now, since these have only 9 slots, a stack would be count for a lot more. So filling up half of it, as you can see, oh well, that's almost a half. There we are, that's half. Half of that would be about 8 blocks of redstone dust piece long, as you can see right there. So since these have different amounts you can fit in, half of this would only be about, about that much, and about that. And that would go about 8. Yep, right there. That's 8, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, yes. So it looks like it rounded it up from 7.5 to 8, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not doing any math right now. We also have furnaces. So you throw something in the furnace, it can calculate what's in the top, what's in the bottom, and even the output. So combine all that, you'll get a total of your full. So yeah, if you have a full stack in, like so, that already gives you a total of 3, 4, 5 there, because this is 3 slots, so, and there's a total of 15 in length. So basically, if one slot is completely full, that's a total of 5 power coming out from it. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Alright, so we also have hoppers, same thing, applies, there we are, and also minecart chests, minecart hoppers on detector rails. So if we just move this guy over here, we can see that's a detector rail, and lights off, but as soon as we push that guy back on, come on. Can we push this little minecart back on? Yeah, we are. Back on the detector rail, it's activated, and it's detecting how many items are in the minecart. So this only works with storage minecarts and hopper minecarts, I believe, but I think it might, I don't know, if it works with anything else. Now, another cool thing is that it can get this comparator signal of detecting how many items are in there through a block, like so. So we have one item in there, and this comparator is on. Take that out, turns off. Put it back in, turns on. So that's pretty cool. Now, a thing that the comparators don't take out is stuff like ender chests. It can't detect that because they are always different. So these are some of the things that you can use comparators with. There are some other things also, so just keep that in mind. You can look at more stuff into comparators if you wish. Now, another thing that I should mention about the comparators is that they don't pull out the signal like this. So we've got a redstone dust in here. This is turned off though, unlike this one, which has one in there. So it can kind of pull out the signal through the block, but not like this. The comparator and the chest and the block all have to be in the same line, like this. When they are off center like this, they're not in a straight line, and that basically produces nothing. If we had a chest over here, however, and we start filling that up, fill up all that redstone that I have in my inventory, there we are. You can see it's working fine. So this chest shouldn't interfere with it at all. We can break it. You know, we can fill that up with some more redstone too. Nothing's going to happen. So, yeah, pretty cool. Alright, so another cool thing about the comparator is that it's quite similar to the repeater. So if you look at that, it's got this kind of like little grey shape, and when you walk on top of it, you kind of move up a little block. You can kind of feel that right there. So that's pretty cool, and that means you can do something like this. So for example, if we flip this, it's basically the same as a repeater. So we can see it sending a signal just along through and hitting the redstone lamp block. There we are, activating that. And if we have a look at this, we can see that they both turn on at the exact same time. So that if we looked at our timing episode, we found that redstone comparators actually have the same amount of delay as one redstone tick. So that's pretty cool. Another cool thing is that the comparators also provide direct power. Let's get ourselves the wool, magenta, and the blue, so you guys can see how this is all working. So this is direct power, just like the repeater can, and it can also suck out the power from a what's it, indirect powered block. So it could also do something like this. Comparator could be down there too, because this is a being indirectly powered. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alright, let's fix everything up. Okay, so another cool thing is with the comparator, we can get a full signal of 15, just like the repeater. How if we have like a long signal like this, and this is a lot weaker than this. This one's a lot stronger, so this repeats it to 15. So if we look here, this is also 15, and it comes all the way along here. 15, that's number 16. So we have all the numbers here. So that's pretty cool. Now, this isn't the same as a repeater, which if it receives a signal strength of maybe, let's say 15, 14, 15. If it receives a signal strength of 12, it outputs 15, as you can see like that. That's why it's called a repeater. It repeats the signal. But a comparator, however, it just continues the signal along. So if we provide a power of 11, we only get up to 2. Well, actually 1. Now, as you can see here, we get a signal strength of 11, and we actually get 11 out here. So, in the end, we'll be a few blocks out. If we used a repeater here, however, as you can see, that last light is being lit up, and that actually could be continued along even further. There we are. But, however, comparators, they don't do that. So, they take their signal strength and they place it one block forward. So receives a signal strength of 11, puts signal strength of 11 forward. Pretty cool. So using that, we can actually find out how much items are in this chest at the moment. So all these lights are activated. That means this chest is completely full. Now we can take out a few items. We can see that that bar is decreasing. Take out more and more and more. That bar is going down pretty fast. So I've got a lot of signs here that tells us how many items tells us how many items are in the chest based on these redstone lamps that are activated. So there's about 13 stacks of items plus 32, all the way up to about 15 stacks and 28. So it could have between these two, well, 15 and 13 stacks. So pretty cool. So, you know, you can do all sorts of funny little detectors and stuff in there. And we can fill that all up, and that starts going up, and even more. Pretty cool. So, using that also little principle with the comparator repeating its signal like this, we can put it in a power level 15, lights up all of them. Then we can power it level 14, and we only get that much. So 14, then this would be 15 from the lever, then 14. Comparator receives the power, 14, 13, 12, 11, all the way down to 1. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Another thing is we can use comparators like this, and they will continue the signal along. As you can see, if we put in 15, all those lights turn on. Now this is because the comparator receives a signal strength of 15, goes into the comparator, sends out a signal strength of 15, comparator reads that, it gets 15, places out 15, comparator reads that, 15, 15, so on, all the way till here. And yeah, this also works the same if you put in your comparators like this. I mean, that's fine and all, but it's just going to have longer delay. As you can see, that takes a long time. So that might be a problem. Alright, so here we have 14. Place number 14 down. You can see that last redstone lamp isn't being lit up. And we even have 13. And bam, 2 lamps aren't lit up. So that's pretty cool. You could decide how many lamps you want lit up, or I don't know, something like that, if you really want. But yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Now the most complicated part of the comparator is this little statement here. If A is greater or equal to B, then output A. So this is the comparator's comparing idea. So this is what the comparator was intended to do. It's supposed to compare 2 signals. So if you didn't know, the comparator actually has 2 inputs. One on the side and one at the front. Now it could even have the side input can even be on this side too. It doesn't really matter. So if we flip these, but we'll see how these 2 inputs affect the comparator. So if A is greater than or equal to B, then output A. So we've got input A and input B. So input A is the front and input B is the side. Alright, so if this is greater than this, then it will output this. Alright, so let's try and explain how this all works. So I've got this comparator set up with a bunch of different levers here that can give different amounts of power to the comparator, to the side, output input B, and input A. All these ones here. So here we'll give it a signal strength of 15, outputs like so. So if A is greater than or equal to B, then output A. So if this 15, and we put in here 14, since 15 is greater than 14, then it's going to output 15. Alright? Now, however, if we have 13, for example, nothing happens. Nothing's here. Because A is less than B at the moment. Because 14 is greater than 13. As you can see right there. So, it can't output anything. Now, if we do 14 and 14, it will output 14. Because if A is greater than or equal to B, then it will output A. So that's one of the basic comparing states it can be in. So this one here we have 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, maybe 10. Alright, that's going to output 10. And maybe if we have all the way 1, signal strength of 1, does nothing because B is right now less than 10. 1 is less than 10. Then we could have 10 itself, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. And that's equal, so stays the same. Now if we get to 11, 11 is actually more than 10, then yeah, everything turns off. So that can be useful in some different ways. There are many other comparator circuits out there that use this comparing function, and you could do all sorts of crazy circuits. And I don't know why I have this here. I don't know. Anyways, oh yes, now I know why I have this here. We have this chest here to show that you could use the comparator in different ways, like this. So since the comparator also reads how many items from here, we could take those out, empty, we have to start putting items in here. I showed you guys this at the beginning of the episode. We saw that this comparator can detect how many items are in the chest, and we can see 2 redstone lamps are on. So using that, we could use 2 chests, and we could use that for the comparator output. So the more we put in here, it's turning on, and we take more out, it's out. So here we have 2 redstone, 2 stacks, and here we only have 1 stack. And since this is here, this here would be B, This one, oh, we need to label that. Oh, there we are. We'll call this B, and we'll call this one A. So if A is greater than or equal to B, then output A. So since B right now is bigger than A, it's not doing anything. Alright, so but if we start putting in more, now since A now has more items than B, then it's going to output the amount A has. And that's still a little bit, but not all that much. So it's gone up to here. Alright, so if we have them equal now, 4 stacks each, 3, 4, it's equal now, and it stays the same. But now we start adding a few more stacks in. 5 is alright, and 6, then it turns off. Alright, so that's a pretty cool thing you can do. Now we use another comparator here. You can actually replace this with a redstone dust as well, but we want to make sure we keep the amount of the redstone dust. We want to make sure that's equal. Well, like it doesn't change over time. For example, if we had the redstone dust here, and then we made it come out here, now that changes from it goes down by 1, the signal strength. So we don't want that because things will mess up. But actually, you could use that in some form of circuit. But, you know, it's more or less up to you. Now we have another function of the comparator. This is called the subtraction mode. If we right click it, this redstone torch turns on. And when this redstone torch is on, you know that you are in subtraction mode. So subtraction mode is, to me, is a lot more simpler than the comparing mode. All it is output A minus B. So let's take a look at our crazy little lever setup here to see how the comparator works. This time we've set it onto subtraction mode. Alright, so A minus B. Alright, so if we have 15 for example, and then we've thrown 1, we do 15 minus 1, that gives us 14. Alright, maybe we could do, I don't know, 2 minus 1, that only gives us 1. Okay, now but what happens if we do something like 13 minus 15? If you do something like that, you get a negative number, and when you get a negative number, just nothing happens. Alright, so, you know, could come in useful over time. So, you know, we have here 13, maybe 15 minus 13, that gives us 2. And, you know, this is 13 minus, I don't know, this number here, that gives us a total of 6. So, yeah, pretty cool. That's the subtraction mode. I'm sure there's some pretty good uses out there for this. If you're not 100% sure on what to use the comparator for, most common use is that identifying how many items are in a chest or a hopper or a furnace. But you can do some other cool things with this comparing and subtraction mode. So I just suggest Googling some stuff or looking things up on the internet to find out what's good. Now another cool thing the comparator is used for is like clocks. So if we looked at repeaters, we could replace these all with repeaters, and we could have like a little repeater clock that goes around, and we'll just flip the lever quickly, and we'll have a little clock that would activate every so often. That redstone lamp flashes. Cool. And since the comparators actually have the same amount of delay as 1-tick repeaters, we can make clocks out of them, like so. Bam. Bam. And there we are. A clock. So that's pretty cool. But now the most common clock that I have seen using the comparator is just one. It's something set up like this, and it's very, very simple. And the best part is, it's toggleable. So we have a comparator set on subtraction mode, and we basically have the redstone just feeding into itself. So basically when we turn this lever on, we input A gets 15. So since B is 0, 15 minus 0 is 15. So 15, 14, 13. 13 comes in, and it still has 15. So 15 minus 13 is actually 2. And it outputs 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 0. This output is now 0. So then this the comparator checks that, and now it has an input of 15. So 15 minus 0, 15, and it goes on a continuous cycle over and over again. And using that, you can make a pretty fast clock. So it's turning from 15 to 0 over and over again, and that can shoot out things pretty fast. Look at that. So that's a pretty fast clock. Pretty cool. Make sure not to have too many of these in your world, otherwise you're gonna, lag your computer if you have all of these running at the same time. Best part is, it's toggleable. Woohoo! Now if you want to connect this up to something else, like a lever all the way back here, if you look at that, works the same. And we should be able to get ourselves another dropper or a dispenser, and it should fire fine. Yep, firing all okay. Now make sure you don't have this extended too far out. If you have this too far out, then it's not going to work all that well. I don't think it will. So I suggest just having a repeater here if you're toggling it, just in case. Alright, now another cool thing about the comparators is a signal diminisher. That's what most people call these. Signal diminishers are cool. So we turn this on, everything turns on, and we turn it off, and it's still on, and then it turns off. If we look closely at the redstone wire, you can see over time it slowly goes down and down until it fades away. So that's pretty cool. And with that, you can do some pretty cool stuff. And I'll see if I can do that right now, really quickly. Okay, so I've set up a little system like this. Turn this on, and we get all these lamps activated. So let's get rid of that last one. And we flip the lever. Look at that. It comes all the way down. So that's a pretty nice effect. That's pretty cool. All the way down like so. And over again. You could do that all over again, as much as you want. Pretty cool. So how this is working is that we send a signal strength of 15 into the comparator. So it sends through 15, 14, comparator gets 14, would output 14, but it gets 14 anyways from the lever too. But as soon as we turn this off, now this would be nothing, but since this is receiving a level 14, outputs 14, then 13, then so as soon as we turn the lever off, the comparator realizes it has 13, a signal strength of 13, outputs 13, 13, 12, comparator has 12, puts 12 out here, 12, 11, comparator gets the 11, puts out here, 11, 10, 10, comparator puts it out here, 10, then it goes 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's basically how it works. See? And it slowly updates each other over and over again until it runs out. Now the best part about the signal diminisher is that you can put more comparators in and it will take longer. So we flip this lever and we turn it off, and it's taking quite some time to turn off that redstone lamp. See, that took a lot longer. Now we flip this one and that's gone already. And let's compare it to this one, and waiting, and bam, there we are. So yeah, it's a lot longer. So the amount of comparators adds to it. That's because the comparators have the one redstone tick of delay. We can see it right here. See, they all turn on order. So basically what happens this time is that the same thing over here happens, but this time this comparator would receive oh, it's got 15, and then this repeater would say, oh, 15, 15, 15, 14. Comparator realizes it's 14. This comparator realizes that it has 14. This one then realizes it has 14, and outputs 14, 13, and goes over and over again. And it takes that one redstone tick to make for the comparator to realize that behind it, it has a different signal strength. So it slowly changes over time. But if you have a whole line of these, they can actually add up pretty quickly. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. And now the final thing I want to show you guys today with the comparator is something called a tile entity detector, I think what most people are calling them. I'm not too sure. So this is like a TEUD, and I found this one by Nice Mark MC, and he made this cool design. I'm pretty sure that it was him who made this design, and this design basically uses chests. You can't open this, and basically if we open this chest, put something in, piston activates, and we take something out, piston activates, break something, piston activates, place a block down, break it. Oh, I guess it only works with entities. I didn't look into it too too much. I think if we use like spawners or something, I'd say that maybe throwing an item might do something, but no, guess not. No, it works with chests, so that is pretty awesome. Probably would work on some other things. I guess an anvil would do nicely too. No? No? Well, it's sort of like a bud, but it can detect entities. So if you want to know more information on how this works and what it can work with, then check out Nice Mark MC's video. Also, I'll link to Ultimate Redstone's silent tile entity detector, update detector thingy. I had very little experience with these things, so I don't know what to call them. But anyways, so this is basically what they do. Pretty cool. Ultimate Redstone made a silent one, so go check that out too. So basically how this works is that we have an item in our chest, and it's going through a block. Now, if you didn't know, if we have a block on top of here, and we update that comparator, even though there is an item in there, we know that, there's an item in there, the comparator can send out a signal, but when there's a block on top, the comparator can't. Now, what's cool is the comparator doesn't realize that this chest actually has something in it until we update it. Pop. See? And then we block it off, and it turns off. So that's basically how it works. We just have a sticky piston that's blocking the chest, and as soon as we update it, there we are. Pretty cool. Sort of like a block update detector with the piston buds, but this can detect a lot more things. So that is pretty amazing. But I think that's all I have time for today to talk to you guys about the comparator. Comparators are very complex and may make another video if you guys are still a little unsure on how things work with it. But yeah, that's it for most of the redstone components. I think the series is almost going to be over. But if you do have any requests on anything else you want to learn in redstone, feel free to ask. But yeah, until then, thank you guys for watching. We'll be looking into repeater locking next time. That's it for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all next time.